and I'm rolling anytime.
What the Chamber provides also is this invisible connectivity that I think people, when they come into our business or other businesses, they feel that there's a community. Sometimes you can't put your finger on what is that feeling in West Hollywood where everyone seems to be in this same group, and it's because of the Chamber and all of the things that they do to bring us together as a family. My mother was one of the first entrepreneurs, I think, in West Hollywood. As a female, running a business, starting it from nothing, basically bootstrapping and girl bossing before those terms were around. She started a showroom, had a factory. My father, who's an attorney, worked together with her. And slowly they started buying property in West Hollywood because they saw West Hollywood then, what we experience today.
How cool is that? I just got goosebumps.
I know.
Yes.
So good.
My mother Phyllis started with a design called the poodle lamp, and it was a poodle basically with a lampshade, and from that she designed other end tables, cast lamps, cabinets, beds, dining tables, and over 30 years she became the go-to place for high-end interior design in West Hollywood. I think bringing a lot of other businesses along with her that wanted to populate Robertson and Beverly to create this design district.
Tell me a little bit about the West Hollywood Design District and your experience with it, having seen it kind of from the beginning.
In the beginning, the West Hollywood Design District was pretty much furniture showrooms, antique stores, and art galleries. Over the years, as there's been a lot of evolution in business, and after the Pacific Design Center was built, many showrooms moved into the large design center, which opened up space for fashion, for dining, and for other like-minded businesses who wanted to be part of the arts. Today we see the West Hollywood Design District as an international destination for people to see what is on the leading edge for food, for fashion, for art, because a lot of things are starting right here in this square mile.
That's a great eye.
It's really true. I mean, people sometimes think that they're seeing Beverly Hills or Hollywood, but all of that inspiration is coming from West Hollywood. And all of those businesses are benefiting from having a bid, from having the Chamber, from having a city government that listens to people through people like the Chamber that can express our needs. The Chamber has been very powerful in connecting the business improvement districts and the City Council in a way that none of us would have been able to do without their help in advocacy and communication, expertise and patience that they have to deal with some of our problems. They make everything smoothed over, and we're able to meet our goals in a way that we would have never by ourselves.
Why?
We would never leave West Hollywood. West Hollywood's our home. That's where our properties are. We have many tenants here in West Hollywood. We care so much about this, almost like it's our Mayberry. This is our town, and we would never leave it. There's no city on the planet like West Hollywood, and I think people feel it when they're here, and they know when they've arrived and they know when they've left.
Keep going. Why is it important to you specifically?
We've built a family in West Hollywood. We've built relations in West Hollywood. There's something about the ease of doing business and the creativity of the city that no other city can match. I actually remember going to Kitty Park on Beverly Boulevard and experiencing West Hollywood as a very different town decades ago, but the soul is still the same. Yes, there's international brands on the street and there's restaurants that you're lining up to get into, but there's something about West Hollywood through the changes that has stayed the same.
What is it?
It's like Mayberry. You said Mayberry earlier.
There's the soul of West Hollywood has remained the same through all of the changes over the decades. And I've had children that have gone to West Hollywood Elementary School. I plan to be here through their growing up in our hotel. And what can we do to retain that soul while keeping the growth of West Hollywood vibrant? And that's really something that we're watching, and we're very lucky to be a part of that. I remember West Hollywood always feeling like a small town. I remember that many of the owners were always in their stores and walking down the street, seeing people dressed sometimes in hot pants and platform shoes and feeling perfectly normal. I was driving with my daughter the other day and we saw someone dressed quite outrageously, and she said, "Isn't that interesting?" as opposed to "Isn't that weird?" And I think that's what West Hollywood allows us to experience. I think a lot of businesses don't know what the Chamber does, and it frustrates me so much because I think they could benefit immensely. I feel that the chamber gives you the safety, and it gives you the community, and it gives you the platform to be part of West Hollywood in a way that you couldn't without them.
But more specifically, like,
To have the chamber have your back, to know that there's someone that's a phone call or an email away that can make that other phone call for you that you wouldn't know how to make. They're there for you for that. I've personally participated in over 50 events that the chamber has produced. And from these events, I see people that I've known for decades, or I'll meet somebody new. And those to me are the underpinning of our community when there's a ribbon cutting, when there's an award ceremony, when there's a dinner, and we're all together, almost like it's a bar mitzvah or a wedding. That's how it feels at the West Hollywood Chamber events. I think the chamber really understands the pressures of businesses that come to West Hollywood. Many of these businesses are very brave, they're entrepreneurial, they're daring, and the chamber understands our pressures, and they help us bridge that gap with the city to make sure that the stores can open on time, that we can get maybe variances that are not part of the code, knowing at the end of the day it's going to be a win-win for everybody. We have been a member of the West Hollywood Chamber of Commerce for as long as I can remember, probably 40 years, I would say.
and that initially came through your mother, Phyllis. Why do you suppose she joined the chamber 40 years ago?
My mother, Phyllis, was always very civically minded. She knew the importance of being involved with government, local government, other businesses, community, and the chamber was the perfect place where all of those things came together.
Nice, you're doing great. These are just the kind of answers we're looking for.
Okay.
And you've seen a lot of changes, and some things have stayed the same. How is your experience with the chamber today similar to what you saw going on with your mom when you were just a little girl?
I think the chamber is so robust today and so much more proactive in networking, creating education for businesses, bringing the businesses together with the community and government. I think over the years the chamber just gets better and better.
Nice. Tell me specifically, because everyone that we've had come in today has talked about why the chamber is great. And so we can get that 8 different times. But what
Okay.
I want to hear is, why is it great specifically for your business and your brand? So kind of drive it home for me about why the chamber really resonates for what you do specifically.
I'm very involved with the West Hollywood Design District, and the chamber has been really helpful in bringing us together as a community and also being an advocate for us with the city. They've helped us with events, they've helped us with parking, they've helped us with get-togethers, they've helped us open businesses. And small businesses today need that so much more than ever, and the chamber's been there for us. I remember a few years ago we had a street event in the Design District, which was the first time we did something like that, and we really leaned on the chamber for their expertise and contacts and angles of how we could do it the best for the neighbors, for the businesses, but mainly for the city who saw it as a problem, and the chamber was able to present it in a way where it was really a benefit for everybody. And I don't think our event could have taken place without them.
Would you say that the chamber, how would you characterize that the chamber connects you with people that are important for your business?
The chamber connects us with people in so many different ways. There's the website, which is always up to date, showing new businesses in the area, which sometimes we're so busy with our own business, we don't even know who is opening up around the corner. So the chamber shows us our neighbors, people that we can meet, people we can serve, people who can help us. And so together, they connect the community. The Design District used to be called the Avenues of Art and Design. A bunch of showrooms got together and we decided that we had to brand the area. So we came up with that name and we were able to collect money to do banners in the area. Originally, the streets of Robertson and Beverly were filled with independent design showrooms, and they were to the trade, meaning if you were a regular person without a designer, you could not go through the doors. So it was a very elite area for interior design where people came from all over the world to shop. And they had to have a decorator with them, and then they would get the decorator price. And so it was a very exclusive area where you could only go if you were qualified to buy couches, mirrors, and furniture. Many of the showrooms got together and created a board, and we got to make our own decisions of how to spend the money. We raised money from every business that was within the borders of the Design District, which is Melrose, Beverly, and Robertson. And we first started with banners,
And then we started with other marketing materials. So people knew when they were in the area that they were in the West Hollywood Design District. Once we were the avenues of art and design, maybe 10 years went by and people decided that really didn't represent who we were anymore, because the design district was an international destination and the avenues of art and design sounded a little small town. So we became the West Hollywood Design District. And I think people know us as that. And I think they know when they're in the West Hollywood Design District because of all the businesses that are there. When you're in the design district, you're immersed in creativity. Some of the leading edge designers are there. I think people come to see what trends are being forecasted for colors, for furniture, for wallpapers. And you have a lot of creative people that decide to open up their showrooms there because they want to be surrounded by other creative people. I don't think there's another city that my mother could have successfully built her business in. West Hollywood was predisposed at the time because it had a lot of factories and it had design showrooms, and my mother took advantage of both of those. She started her first factory on Lapeer and her showroom on Beverly, and she was able to become part of the West Hollywood landscape. West Hollywood also created an avenue for women to succeed in business. And I think that's part of the creative city. Of course, it's very generous to the gay community, which created, I think, the design palette for West Hollywood. But women were able to start their own companies. It was the first girl bosses, I think. Where in West Hollywood, you had Phyllis Morris, my mother, you had Nancy Corazine, you had Sally Sirkin from J. Robert Scott. All of these female designers were some of the leaders of California design, and the whole world was looking, what is California doing in interior design? Everyone wanted to live like a movie star, and these showrooms were showing the furniture and the sets of how to do that.
First wave?
I think my mother was part of the first wave of designers. It started in the 60s and 70s, and it was very strong in the 80s. And there just became this place for people to go if they were an independent designer and they had enough money to open up a showroom and to pay a few months' rent to become part of the West Hollywood community. And you knew if you were there, you had a built-in clientele of people coming to shop for their homes. People literally would fly from all over the world to West Hollywood because on these streets we had some of the top showrooms, rug showrooms, paintings, artists, galleries, and everything you can imagine for the home was all within these walkable blocks. And then there was the Pacific Design Center. So if you add it all up together, there's no other design community in the world that can compete with West Hollywood. I vaguely remember when the Blue Building was being built, and I vaguely remember my mother helping a man that had a little key shop or an iron shop that was in front that they were trying to kick out. And my mother always rooted for the underdog, and she was helping him keep his little store. I think it was like 10 by 3. It was his tiny little store, and they wanted him to go away because it obviously wasn't a good look for the Pacific Design Center. And she got the help of Baxter Ward at the time, who I think was a city councilman, to help preserve his business. Maybe she was worried the Pacific Design Center would compete with her business in some way. I don't know what her motivation was, but I do know that she always stood up for the underdog, and she wanted this person to have a chance to have his business in West Hollywood and not be kicked out. I think West Hollywood is a very generous city, and there's a familial quality about it, and there's a collaborative quality about it. And it's hard to put your finger on it, but everyone looks out for everybody. And if you're a new store that opened up, you'll be greeted by your neighbors. And there is something about it where you really feel the sense of community. You know when you're in West Hollywood, and you know when you've left it. And I think part of it is that sense of family. The California design movement was very strong in the 70s and 80s. You had a lot of designers that were doing this Palm Springs look, the Hollywood look, and it was something that New York couldn't compete with, and nobody knew really how to emulate it. People would come to California, people would take pictures of the windows, and there was something about the California style. I don't know if it was the sunshine, it was our fantastic weather, but there was something part of that that drew a lot of creatives. Of course, there was a tremendous gay community that was already in West Hollywood with antique shops and little small boutiques, and that started the movement for people to build showrooms and design centers and to be part of that design community. Well, when the Pacific Design Center was built and a lot of trade showrooms moved into the building, a lot of the public showrooms started opening up on the streets. And also then the fashion houses came in and restaurants. And the mix, I think, is so wonderful. And it still has the West Hollywood creative feeling, but you have a mix of great culinary offerings, incredible fashion houses, and independent furniture showrooms that have come, as well as national brands that want to be part of that scene. Well, I've grown up in West Hollywood, so I've never known it to be anything other than it is today. Even though it's changed so much over the decades, it still has that sense of community and that village feeling. You can be at Headley's and literally city council members and the mayor can walk down the street and you're all saying hi and giving high fives. And you can pick up the phone actually and call City Hall if there's an issue with your parking or if you want to have a party. There's something very small town about a city that really the whole world is watching. One of my favorite memories is watching Paris Hilton leaving Christian Louboutin a few years ago, and it was the early stages of paparazzi when everyone was just figuring out what do you do with all these mobs of photographers. Well, Paris Hilton knew what to do. She walked in slow motion, carrying her Louboutin bag toward the camera, but literally walked as if there was a wind machine in front of her, and the photographer stood back very slowly and took steps backwards, shooting her every move. I think what's changed the most are all the national brands that have come onto the streets. It's really wonderful to see so many incredible designers and known names come onto Robertson and Beverly streets that only used to have small boutiques and mom and pop showrooms, but right next door to them can be an independent showroom. But obviously the rents have gone up, which creates a situation where you have a lot of international businesses coming in. And I hope that the small businesses are able to stay because I think the combination is what makes West Hollywood so cool. You'll hear many stories of the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond of West Hollywood, but there's a through line of something a little creative, doing things a little bit differently. And you're not going to want to come to West Hollywood if you have a very straight-laced, boring business. It's not the city for you. West Hollywood attracts people who want to do things new and different and try things for the first time, and the city embraces that, and they'll help you open your business and make it work. In 2121, I hope that West Hollywood still has the village feel, but we know West Hollywood is a city of firsts, so I think we'll be the first carless city, for sure, and I think people will probably be transported by mini heliports or little mini helicopters that'll be docked on the corners, and there'll be underground transportation. We'll probably be a cashless city, and anything that's first that can possibly happen, West Hollywood is going to embrace it to be the most cutting-edge city in 2121. Okay. One thing I miss that's not here anymore is Antiquarius. In the mid-'80s, there was this large building on Beverly Boulevard that had little arcades of estate jewelry and antiques, and it was like a Paris flea market all in a building, and the top floor was Pane Caldo, and the maitre d' was Silvio, who is now at Il Piccolino on Robertson. So some things stay the same in West Hollywood. But it was really a special place where you could go and get a diamond ring or a Rolex watch or a vintage guitar all in one building with some of the best curators of vintage antiques. My favorite West Hollywood landmark is the Pacific Design Center. I think it just is the heart of West Hollywood, and I love when you're in high-rises and you look down on West Hollywood and you see the Pacific Design Center, and then you know exactly where every other street is that connects to it. I think the whole world looks at West Hollywood and they don't know it. They think they're looking at California or Hollywood or Beverly Hills. But in fact, they're looking at West Hollywood. All of the celebrities get their makeup done. They do their workouts here. They go to dinner here. It's where all of the trends are setting. Some trends that started here become national trends in 2 or 3 years, and they're really not happening in Santa Monica or downtown. They're happening here in West Hollywood. So I think the whole world is influenced by West Hollywood because they're watching television, and it's really all happening here on our streets.